This just means that Capcom and SNK are working together again. Good times. Let's get into it.
This wasn't written with your comfort in mind. Nah. Made my decision, wasn't tough to decide. Nah. Me and my boys, we get it done every time. Gotta earn it, you can't just jump in the line. You'll get rushed to the side. I top my division, I've been building since I started. In the parking lot, I parked it. I came in while picking targets. My career cannot be tarnished. I'm a champion regardless. Celebrate, but this a different kind of lucha party. We are not alike.
What's up, everybody? It's Miguel Casanova coming at you with another video, and I wanted to talk today about something that dropped, and it was none other than the surprise announcement. Well, technically, I don't know if this is technically a surprise because, you know, the SNK likes to drop big news on Wednesdays, and since we're not getting a KOF, we didn't get a KOF 15 trailer today, which we'll get one next week, more than likely. They decided to drop something that kind of shattered our expectations for a lot of us. I mean, I kind of saw it coming in a way, because I figured when they broke the barrier, when they really shattered our expectations and brought back SVC SNK versus Capcom Match of the Millennium to the Switch, I was not at all expecting that to happen. So the fact that this is now something, and I'll show you guys, like cardfighters Clash, the one for the original NEOGEO Pocket, it's just absolutely insane. Like, I really it's kind of crazy. You know, the interesting thing is, the one thing that's off about this is the color of Terry's eyes, but I mean, that's a minor nitpick. But I mean, the fact that this is happening is crazy, because this I wanted to talk about this. I really wanted to talk about this because I feel like this is leading us to getting re-releases, and hopefully with, you know, online capabilities, possibly, if not rollback netcode, then delay based, you know, netcode. Capcom versus SNK 1 and 2, as well as SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos. Because you know, these games just they don't just drop, and a lot of people are like, oh, that you know, there's something major with this. This is fucking major. This is really fucking major, because they would not be dry. Like, honestly, I feel like since Ono left Capcom, they've been more willing to work with other companies. I mean, we've already seen them work with Eureka, where you got to fight an EX Slayer character costumes in Street Fighter V. You've seen them working with, like, Fortnite. I mean, of course, everything is in Fortnite. That's good publicity. If I was a company, I'm like, yo, I want to get myself in Fortnite. I don't play the game, but honestly, it's great publicity. You just see, like, they've been doing so much, even to the point of Luke, the last character in Street Fighter V, is a true homage to John Crawley from Art of Fighting 1 and 2. So it's really kind of interesting when you really sit and you look at it, how, you know, just things have been lining up. Nobody saw SNK versus Capcom Match of the Millennium dropping last year when it did. It happened. No one saw this dropping either, you know? So, you know, logically, there's 3 more titles to be coming out. Technically, you could say 4, because there is a sequel to Cardfighters Clash that came out, I believe, on the DS. So that could be getting a re-release as well. But, yeah, the fact that this is now out, right? And it literally, the day they announced it, the minute they announced it is the minute it was available on the eShop. Absolutely insane, which means this is also going to be coming to PC as well. So we're going to look at the trailer, and I want to kind of discuss real briefly what this, you know, what we could expect beyond re-releases. I believe, personally, we're gearing up towards a CVS 3 or SVC Chaos 2, or both. Because there was a really big partnership between Capcom and SNK back in the day that unfortunately fell through due to the bankruptcy and to an extent, temporary closure of SNK. So let's go ahead and look at this trailer, and then we'll go from there. Love hearing the SNK logo theme.
Card Fighters!
You know, the crazy part about this, the absolutely insane part about this, is the fact that this game is so good that it got a sequel. Can you imagine this getting a third entry, you know, with online play and like having whole like tournaments being based around Card Fighters Clash? I could totally see it. I mean, we've got so many games that are card games that do really well. I could see this because the concept, when this dropped, this was a major hit back in 98, 99. And then you had the sequel, which sold really well on the DS. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm really, really all for it. And I think it would be a shame for them not to make a third entry. And honestly, so I want to talk a little bit more about this. I want to do just, you know, I don't want to take too much of your time. This is going to be a fairly short video. It's not going to be insanely long. But what I wanted to do, see if I can go to a point where it's let's see, let's go over here. We'll go here. All right, so what I wanted to do a brief, you know, talk about what this means. So a lot of people are wondering, why hasn't SNK and Capcom just full on re-released the three most anticipated games, being CVS 1 and 2 and the SVC Chaos? Why not just re-release the three of those and include online capabilities? Well, there's a reason for that. The reason that they haven't done that is you have to look at when companies are bringing back legacy titles such as this, and introducing them to an entirely new generation of gamers. In this sense, a lot of the people that are probably playing this are playing it for the first time, especially on the Switch. You appealing to a very young demographic. You know, the people who play the Switch, age ranges go from 5 years old up until, you know, grandparents' age, right? You know, like 60s and so. But you're playing that they are releasing this to a whole new demographic, and they have to take the safest measures possible. Yeah, I would be like, yeah, just go ahead and drop the heavy hitters. But what if, and this is a big if, I know I talked about this years ago. I actually said this years ago, this is possibly going to happen because of one of my Capcom sources, was that we were going to get the crossover from Capcom and SNK to resume, because it didn't really completely end accurately. To be honest, it didn't go through the way that either company wanted to. Because if we look at CVS 2, right? CVS and CVS 2, both CVS 2 more so than CVS 1 was a major seller. CVS 2. CVS 1 didn't sell that well. One, because the PlayStation 1 port wasn't that great at all. And two, the version that was on the Dreamcast wasn't in everybody's house is the way a PlayStation 1 was. And for the younger folks who may not know like what it was like living back in that time, a lot of games that went straight to arcade did not have, you know, when they came to a home conversion, they didn't have really that high quality that a lot of people personally wanted. So, you know, if you got a PlayStation port of a game, like think Marvel Superheroes, Marvel versus, or is it X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, Capcom versus SNK Pro, which is what the PlayStation version was called, and also was Marvel versus Capcom for the original PlayStation. Now look at all of those conversions, and you can even throw in Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha 2. I wouldn't include Street Fighter Alpha 3 just because that one's probably one of the better ones. Not the top of all the conversions of that title, but you look at the titles, the 2D titles, especially the fighting games from Capcom that would go to the PlayStation back in the day, which was, you know, the most in that console generation. You know, we're including, you know, the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn. We're looking at the Nintendo 64, the Sega Dreamcast. That was the most owned console from 95 to 2001. Now, before the next generation, technically you could say 99 or 98 because that's when the start of the following generation happened. It kicked off with the Dreamcast, but you know, the Dreamcast wasn't in everybody's house, so they didn't make as much money, Capcom, off of that, and they had an agreement of so many games. So when they decided to make the sequel, not only did it drop on the Dreamcast in Japan only, but it also in the US in 2001 dropped on the PlayStation 2. And then in 2002, you had it drop on the GameCube as well as the Xbox. And those just, like, they were big sellers. Probably not the GameCube version, which is the one I own, and I had an adapter to be able to use a PlayStation controller, PlayStation 2 controller on the GameCube. But they were big sellers. Now, when it was time for SNK to basically do the same thing, SNK just, they weren't able to, they were going through so much, you know, internal changes, ownership changes, staff changes. So, SVC Chaos didn't live up to the hype. It was, I'll be honest, as much as I love the game is very broken. It's a very broken game. Balance is just almost non-existent, especially when you compare like graphically too. That was the first instance where we got an update to Terry Bogard's model, and it was really nice. It was a model that they ended up inverting and modifying to make his Mark of the Wolves look for KOF 2003. Now, the interesting thing with SVC Chaos, you didn't have very detailed backgrounds. They're very bland and boring. It had kind of a plot that didn't go anywhere. It was interesting seeing the interactions between the different fighters, which is a feature SNK brought back when they did KOF 13, which is something that I think they should keep because that was a cool feature. But yeah, pre-fight dialogue, which is really cool, if kind of quirky at times. Bland backgrounds, god-awful music, which is a sin if you know anything about SNK. It made no sense. And the amount of reused assets, the only new assets that you got aside from Terry's new model animation was the Capcom side, and a lot of those were kind of reused assets too, especially when you look at someone like Balrog, who had the reused assets of Heavy D from KOF 98. So yeah, that title SVC Chaos flopped, and they were supposed to make another game, and you know, that didn't pan out. CVS 3 was in the works, which got retooled into being Capcom Fighting All-Stars, which that got canceled, and then that got retooled into Fighting Fighting Jam, which was a flop, one of the worst fighting games out there. So there's still, not including the Card Fighters games, because we did get a sequel. There's still opportunity for Capcom and SNK to go back and redo this, and I'm all for seeing them do it. Like, I like that they're trickling out, or SNK is trickling out their titles first, which technically came first. This just came after Match of the Millennium. Then the next game to come out was CVS 1, which is the game I'm expecting to drop, if not this year, or if not in the summer, then closer to the fall. And then CVS 2 possibly might drop with it. And then SVC Chaos. I'm hoping it'll all drop this year, if not between this and next year. I want them to have online capability, rollback netcode or delay-based netcode, although rollback would be best. And I think that this is just this is both of them testing the waters for a CVS 3 and SVC 2. So that's my thoughts on the significance of this. I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that, I'm talking out of my ass? Do you think this is something that actually could be happening? Whatever your thoughts are, let's go ahead and get the conversation going in the comment section below. And if you want to take the conversation further, we do have Discord as well as Guilded, with links for those in the description below. And if you want to support what we do, we got Patreon over on patreon.com/MikhailKasanova. That way you can get early access to content, input on content, and so much more, along with channel memberships, coffee, Subscribe Star, and merch on Teespring and TeePublic. Again, everything is linked in the description below. That being said, I'm Mikhail Casanova signing out. It's late where I'm at. I'm doing this at like 1 something in the morning. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces wild, too sweet, be the elite. Happy New Year. I know this is the first actual content video I put out outside of reactions and then the beginning of the year type of video, like what to expect channel update. So it's good to be able to do something like this. So that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Be easy, stay safe, mask up, get vaccinated, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. And if you found anything of importance or substance that you gained from watching this, make sure you leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you sub to the channel and ding the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the content that you get from my channel, from podcasts, streams, reviews, impressions, reactions, and so much more. If you want to support what we do have channel memberships. We've got Patreon, we've got Subscribe Star, as well as coffee, which I would love to be drinking some coffee right now, which I am. That's some good coffee. But anyway, we got all of that, and we also have merch on Teespring and TeePublic, so make sure you go check that out. And all that being said, I just hope to see you in the next video that I put out. So hey, see you around.